it's a game, right? Like we're all playing a game because we have to manage our profits. We don't want to be too profitable because then we have to pay taxes on that. We want to spend, but we don't want to overspend because we need enough cash in the business so that we have enough money to continue to reinvest and grow in the business. I think the best thing that we can do as entrepreneurs is to think about our goals before we spend and to create a budget. So when we work with our clients, we have a budgeting service. It's included as part of our CFO services. And it's not as big as it sounds, right? A budget is just creating a spending plan.
Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen, and I am your host. Today, we have a very special guest, Danielle Hayden, who is the co-founder and CEO of Kickstart Accounting Incorporated, which is a bookkeeping and accounting firm that is on a mission to coach six-figure plus and beyond female entrepreneurs so that they can better understand their numbers through bookkeeping, financial analysis, and support so that they can grow profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable businesses. Welcome to the podcast, Danielle.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really looking forward to this conversation today.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. And today I think it's a hot topic, and I think a timely topic. The time of this recording, we're at the end of the year of 2024, December 19th, and most businesses at this point are getting ready to wrap up their books for this current year and thinking about planning for the next year. Their budgets are concerned. What money are they going to put into marketing? What money are they going to put into, maybe some new hires and things like that. So today we're going to be talking about what is healthy business spending and how does it enhance your profitability, and how do those things kind of tie into each other.
Yeah.
And so really excited to dive into that. But before we do dive into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into what you're doing today?
So like so many entrepreneurs, I've had a nice windy roller coaster ride into entrepreneurship. I loved accounting for the business side since the beginning. I actually was originally a hairstylist, and I really loved the creative aspect of working with the numbers, knowing that the numbers can help me hit my goals, be able to serve more people. And I was teaching the other people in the salon how to hit their numbers and read their numbers and use it to hit their goals. So after I finished my degree, I started to work in corporate as a CFO. So that's a chief financial officer for mid-sized businesses. And I found my knack doing that again, where I was helping the people around me understand the numbers so that they can hit their goals, right? Numbers can really be a tool in the game of business. And I found that I had a way of creating a story around numbers to help other creatives and other visionaries be able to understand that information. So now today at Kickstart Accounting Inc., we have an entire framework and process that we use to help hundreds of business owners. We do this through bookkeeping. You have to have accurate and clean bookkeeping in order to be able to read the numbers. Otherwise, you're reading the wrong damn story.
Exactly.
You're reading the wrong story. So we provide the bookkeeping to provide those accurate numbers and then mentor our clients so that they can know and understand their numbers so that they can grow their business and hit their goals. It's really
Okay.
beautiful.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. That's really good stuff. And yeah, it sounds like the way you got into it was because of, the experiences that you had, working with some of those other brands and kind of seeing, all right, how do we, how do we take these numbers? How do we make a future goals from this story that we're creating from the numbers, and then seeing how you can apply that to helping a lot of other businesses, because it's a difficult thing. A lot of times people think today, because we've got all of this data at our hands, that accounting work and projections, it's a lot easier, but I think it's almost the opposite.
Yeah, because we have so much information and people still don't know
Yes.
what to do with it. And one of the things that we've done at Kickstart is we've created what we call our CEO dashboard. So we send every single one of our clients what we call a snapshot. And in this snapshot, it's an easy to read document that points out the key information that business owners need to know about their financials. And here's why we do that. Because there's so much information out there that
Mhm.
we could look at so much that we look at nothing instead. And if we could
Right.
just pick out those key pieces of information, gosh, the amount of impact that can have in the way that we make business decisions.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, because it's with this information overload, it's like it's so much you just don't know where to begin sometimes. And so that's why, unfortunately, a lot of times brands will just, be like, all right, they get overwhelmed and don't know what to do and end up doing nothing, which is really the opposite of what they should be doing. So
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing. We mentioned, of course, today we're talking about healthy business spending. What actually is that? How would you define healthy business spending, or is there such a thing?
There really is such a thing. Okay, so this
Okay.
is my favorite topic because it's a little taboo. There are so many people and influencers out there talking about how to create a more profitable business.
Yes.
And here's what I've found, that a lot of clients will get on the call with us and they get real tense, right? Like shoulder shrug, they get real tense and they look at me like I'm ready to drop a bomb on them. They'll say, all right, tell me where to cut back.
Right.
And I'm like, cut back? Cut back what? Well, like, I don't know. I'm told I have to be more profitable. I have to cut back my spending. You got to tell me where I'm spending too much. And 9 times out of 10, my answer is, well, I don't think you're spending enough. When we have goals, especially growth goals, we have to have a healthy amount of spending in order to support those goals. So for instance, if your goal is to increase your revenue by 50% this year, you're not going to get there without spending money in sales and advertising. And then when you
Right.
get there, what team members are helping you support that level of growth? We need to spend in our team, our operations subscriptions, the tools that we're using. The growth doesn't happen without the support as a business. And that there is a need to create spending in order to hit those goals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting, because I think you're right. A lot of businesses, yeah, their first thought is, yeah, all right, what do we got to cut? They're probably like approaching you and accounting firms like what you do. And I've been there myself as an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and have had a variety of different accountants. And it's like, you come to your accountant with your tail under your legs, your head down, and you're like, all right, just, are you going to spank me now, or you spank me later after you look at our numbers?
Yeah.
And, what are we going to do? So, but yeah, you're right. It's about, I think, redirecting things more than cutting things. What should you really be focusing on to increase profitability? And I think that's really where businesses really need to focus on.
Yeah. It's interesting because not all profit is created equal. So we hear we want to be more profitable. I had a client who came to me a few years ago, and her and I were meeting monthly. So all of our clients, depending on the plan that they're on, they get monthly or quarterly meetings. And this particular client received monthly meetings. And so her and I were meeting on a regular basis. And every month, I was really excited to talk to her because she was one of those clients that revenue was growing, profits were growing. There was a lot of excitement around her growth. And I was watching her personally grow as well. Mm-hmm. And every month I talked to her, I could see the twinkle in her eye, like just fading. And every month she looked a little bit more tired and a little bit more frazzled. And she said, I don't know that I'm going to continue to do this. I don't know that I'm going to continue to, like, maybe I'm not meant to be a business owner. I think the air quote word I hear around the internet, burnout.
Right.
And that was an epiphany moment for me where I was excited to celebrate with her profitability. But really what we found is that she was not paying other people enough money to take things off of her plate. She was walking around with her superhero cape. I can do everything myself, right? I got it. So she didn't hire a team. She didn't have outside services other than Kickstart in place. So she didn't have enough support, and she was trying to do it all on her own. And she wasn't paying herself enough. So she really was starting to become resentful to her business because then she felt like she didn't have enough money to take her kids out to dinner and on a vacation and do all the extra things. She's like, I'm working, but I don't feel like I can do the things that I want to do because she wasn't paying herself enough. So when we have healthy spending, we have a healthy team around us, we're paying ourselves enough to be able to support our personal lives, the things that we need. And when all that's said and done, we still want to see profitability of between 10 and 15%, but that's after we have a healthy team. That's after we've paid ourselves. It's after we've implemented the systems that we need in order to support our growing business.
Yeah, that's and thanks for sharing that example from your the client that you had. And I can see how many businesses probably fall in that particular case where, from the outside looking in, things probably look pretty good because, like you said, she was profitable, but it was at a cost, and that cost was at her, kind of, I would say, probably mental well-being, and because she was just doing too much. And I know these days there's probably a lot of businesses that are e-commerce businesses that are financially strapped, and they feel like they're stretched. What would you say if somebody's listening and saying, yeah, things are tight, but I think I'm doing the right thing. I think it's just my sales are low. What would you say should their first step be to really assess their spending health?
The first thing that we need to do is to make sure that your numbers are accurate. So every single business owner, and I don't care how big or small you are. So even if you're doing $50,000, $100,000 a year in revenue, I want every single business owner to have an accounting system. And I suggest QuickBooks Online. It is still the strongest software out there. It supports long-term growth and has the full capabilities. You will never outgrow QuickBooks, whereas a lot of the free software out there doesn't have the features that you need, and the financials end up incorrect. So I want everyone to be in QuickBooks Online or Xero. Once you're in an accounting software, like you said, we're recording in December of 2024. It is really important that you have a full year of your bookkeeping complete. Now, there's a few reasons why I say that. Every single person listening, you're going to be filing your taxes. And I want you to file your taxes on accurate information, right?
Right.
Not a shoebox of receipts. I don't want your accountant putting it together for you at the last minute. I want you to know your numbers now, because that is how you're going to assess if you're strapped, right? If you're feeling tight on cash, there's a few reasons why we're tight on cash. We can look at the income statement. We're either spending too much money on cost of goods sold, on payroll. There is a leak And it's your job as the business owner to investigate the leak until you find it. So we can look on the income statement and see if we're overspending in areas such as cost of goods sold. We can look at the balance sheet and see, do we have too much debt, holding on to too much inventory, not putting our cash in the right places, taking out way too much money in owner's draws and personal expenses, not paying ourselves enough through payroll. And so we have to have QuickBooks Online put together first, right? We need to build the infrastructure, the foundation. And then once we have that in place, we can start to look at where is the hole. I had a client who came to me a few years ago, and I think you'll appreciate this story. She says to me, Danielle, teach me how to run my business at a loss. Odd request. All right.
Interesting.
I'll take it. I'll bite. So we did what we call a catch up. So we do a lot of these catch ups in November, December. It means that we're pulling in all of your transactions, all of your history for the year. So we're like an architect putting together all the puzzle pieces. So we're taking all your 2024 activity, spending, making money. We put all the puzzle pieces together. At the end, I said, well, I have good news and bad news. Good news, I don't have to teach you how to operate your business at a loss. The bad news is that it's December and we have no time to make any tax decisions. But it's okay. We have this information now. We'll make the right decisions in the future. So what's really cool about her story is that having the information in front of her, she was able to start to turn her entire mindset around. She was shifting herself into, I'm the CEO of this business. And I need to take this seriously. I need to be looking at my numbers every single month so that things don't ever get out of hand like that again. And she started looking at her numbers every single month. And here's what we found. She was commingling business and personal expenses. When she thought she had no money in the business, she was really just overspending personally because she was putting her personal expenses through her business checking account. And she wasn't taking owner's draws and paying herself appropriately. And she couldn't see where the spending problem was.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, for the client to kind of approach you and that with that particular request. And, as business owners, we've all been there. And, of course, I see where she's coming from, especially at the end of the year. The bottom line is everyone is concerned about their tax liability. What is it they're going to have to pay Uncle Sam? And what can we do to minimize that? So, I think her heart was in the right place, so to speak. She's trying to, see what she can do to kind of, minimize that. So, yeah, I understand that. And as far as, but like you said, it's just some little things, like you said, that you advised her about moving forward, the commingling of the funds and things just to get on track so she can really get a handle on her numbers is really what it's all about. And I understand. I talk to business owners all the time, and it's tough because you're running and gunning. You're trying to get sales. You're trying to market the business. You're managing your social media, and sometimes you get so knee deep in everything, your numbers become an afterthought. You're just so focused on keeping everything going. But it's something that, like you said, is essential. You got to, if you wait too long to assess things, you're going to get to the point where it's, could be too late then to reverse or right the ship.
It can be too late. Can I tell you about another client we had?
Sure.
Okay. So we had another client who, she had been a client for a while, and she was adding a second revenue stream to her business. And on paper, she looked like this was taking off. It was like November, December when she launched. And we were watching the sales skyrocket. I mean, cash coming in, hand over fist, January, February, March. And if all she was looking at was her point of sale system, like the cash coming in her account, she would have thought that she had made it, right? Like that this is what was going to make her business. Here's what happened. Is that she got the cash first and then had to buy the inventory. And she she didn't account for some small pieces and contractors that she needed in order to help fulfill the needs of her customers. And by the time we got to like September, we were going in the wrong direction. Each month we were watching profits decrease, her debt balances increasing, and her family really needed her income in order to be able to live.
Sure.
And she was really concerned that she would end up having to file bankruptcy and that this was going to really hurt her family. It went in the wrong direction fast.
Right.
And every time I think about a business owner who waits till the end of the year to do their bookkeeping, to file their taxes, or to look at their numbers, I think, oh, if Katie would have waited, if she would have waited 6 more months, her family would have been in deep financial trouble. You know, I think, you know, her and her husband could have been in a very different place for the rest of their lives. And instead, she was so intentional about looking at her income statement, about seeing the profit, about looking at her debt, understanding where her cash was going. And of course, she had our team to help her. It's not like she was fluent in accounting. We helped her understand that, you know, she wasn't just a special type of business owner who speaks accounting. But it's that type of focus that helps us as business owners stay out of trouble, because we all came into this thing because we're really passionate and excited about what we do. And it's really fun when it's going the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And yeah, stories like that are, you know, I'm sure happen all the time where our business is just, you know, a few months away from just having everything just, you know, having to shut it down. Like you said, worst case, file for bankruptcy. Worst case, you know, fire people right before the holidays. All of that is, you know, are kind of worst case scenarios that nobody really ever wants to deal with. And I think you said, you kind of nailed it. It's all about really getting on top of things before they, you know, things really get too far gone at it. And kind of circling back though to what you're talking about earlier in one of the initial steps, as far as getting the tools in place, you mentioned QuickBooks Online, and you know, I'm an advocate for QuickBooks Online. We've been in business so long. We've seen all of the iterations of QuickBooks. I remember we were on before they even had QuickBooks Online. They had the various versions, and we would get the CDs or the DVDs. Oh my God, I'm dating myself as a business owner, but yeah, I mean, we would try to get the latest versions, and then you're totally right with the online version. It just made everything so much simpler. We didn't have to worry about the feature updates, and everything was, you know, they keep everything really updated, and yeah, I highly recommend it as well. One question though regarding tools, because you mentioned QuickBooks, and most people are familiar with QuickBooks. And these days, there are a variety of free tools that are out there, free accounting things. What's your take on going the free route with some of these type of accounting, bookkeeping tools? I mean, a few that are coming to mind. I know Zoho is a type of online platform, and I think they may have some type of accounting solution. That's just something that came to top of my head. But I think there's some others out there that are the free route, and for business owners to say, yeah, let me just, you know, it seems like it's the same type of functionality as QuickBooks. I can just go with this.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Well, my mama always said you get what you pay for, first of all.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
But in all seriousness, though, Wave is the big one that we come up against in terms of free software. So
yeah.
I'll never forget, we had a client who she had been in Wave for years, and she was really reluctant for us to do the conversion from Wave into QuickBooks Online. And I had to explain to her several times that because of Wave's limited functionality, the payments to her loan and her credit card were not being categorized correctly. And so we did the catch up. I told you guys about the catch up before. So it's when we pull the entire year's worth of activity into the system. When we did that in QuickBooks, her her balance sheet had completely changed, and her debt balances changed, which therefore changed her profit and changed her tax liability. She had been under saving all year. She had no idea that she was more profitable than she thought and that she was going to have a higher tax liability. So she wasn't prepared going into tax season. And that hurts a small business. When you are making business decisions on inaccurate information, you are putting your business at risk. And I always like to say, this is a hard truth for everybody. The day you became a business owner, like the day that you've signed that LLC paperwork, the day you decided to start accepting payments from customers, you took on a responsibility. And now you have to act responsible because your vendors want you to stay in business, right? Yeah. They want you here. Your customers want you here. And if you are not doing the things to keep yourself in business, you're not holding your end of the responsibility of being a business owner. And I know that's a hard truth, right? That's not how people often talk about entrepreneurships, but I think it's a responsibility that we have. So when we think about being responsible, it means looking at accurate information and having accurate information and making those business decisions with the right information. I'm going to answer your question. So Wave, I don't know about Zoho, and I don't think that one's free. I actually think that one's very expensive. FreshBooks is another one. They came to the market as an invoicing tool, and then later started adding on expense features. And the story I told you about my client, I mean, I can tell you story after story after story of people who didn't know how to use the free version.
Right.
You're not a bookkeeper, right? You're not an accountant. You're not a tax accountant. You don't know how to do this stuff. So how are you going to know that it's wrong? And then you've just paid estimated taxes or didn't pay estimated taxes, hired somebody, didn't hire somebody, right? You're making all of those decisions based on information that might be wrong because the free versions don't have the capability of ensuring the accuracy.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and it's kind of the landscape of the way software is today, or where we are today with these solutions. As a software business owner, software as a service, there's so many tools out there, and of course, our goal is really to make these processes as simple as possible. And that's where I think some people really get sucked in. And like you said, they feel, oh, okay, yeah, it's pretty easy. I think I can get away with managing things myself. But in the world of accounting, I think it's, you really have to take a step back and then realize that, everything moving forward as far as decisions and making with your company is all being relied on those numbers that are sitting in that system. And it is. Yeah. So when you take a step back and you look at it like that, then you can start to see the seriousness of it. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should use a free system. Maybe I should just, go ahead and bite the bullet. But, the good thing is that the price for these paid solutions has definitely come down quite a bit. Like I said, I remember the days of QuickBooks, and they had like an upgrade coming out every year back in the day, and I remember it was like $300-400, I think, from what I can recall, and then you had to pay that every year to upgrade.
Choppy service. Yeah.
It really was, and it's bringing up flashbacks and for me now, because I remember we had like our company had like an older version of QuickBooks. Our accountant had the latest version. We would send over files. They were like, I can't open this. It's the wrong version.
And then the files breaking and nothing.
Exactly.
Right? I know.
Yes, it was a nightmare. But now we're in a different world now, because they've got the online version. It's pretty affordable. They've got a lot of there are a few plans there that make it really easy for any business to really get in there. There's of course some other competitors out there that are similar that may not have as big of a name as QuickBooks, but similar price points. So it's definitely doable to really get out there just pay the price to manage it correctly. Well, Danielle, as we get ready to wrap things up, I wanted to get your take on how can a business strike the balance between, investing in the growth of their business and then at the same time, managing and maintaining financial discipline in scaling their business, because I think it's kind of I talked about this earlier. I think it's a kind of a fine line. They want to grow, but at the same time, they got to be careful about the decisions that they're making financially.
It's a game, right? Like, we're all playing a game because we have to manage our profits. We don't want to be too profitable because then we have to pay taxes on that. We want to spend, but we don't want to overspend because we need enough cash in the business so that we have enough money to continue to reinvest and grow in the business. I think the best thing that we can do as entrepreneurs is to think about our goals before we spend and to create a budget. So when we work with our clients, we have a budgeting service. It's included as part of our CFO services. And it's not as big as it sounds, right? A budget is just creating a spending plan. And people are like, you're cutting me off again, right? Like, you're taking away my spending. It's actually creating a spending plan that you get the opportunity to spend money because you are planning the course, the direction of your business. So when our CFO clients are onboarded, we take them through a very in-depth goal setting process. We're looking at our personal goals, the business goals, and then we're charting out the 10-year, 3-year, and 1-year goals. Then we're looking at where exactly do we need to spend money over the next 12 months? What revenue do we need to have coming in the door? Where do we need to spend in what areas in order to be able to hit those goals? So you could put this into practice on your own, right? You can think about, where do I want to see my business in the next 10 years? How about 3 years? And then 1 year? And if you're in high growth mode, you can't be in high growth mode and pay yourself a lot of money and hire a bunch of people, right? We might have to pick one this year. We might be in high growth mode where this year we're spending more money in advertising and marketing and less money in another area. We might be in an area where we're investing in a new product line, maybe research and development. I had one client who she had built a team, and then her mom had gotten sick. And so she actually pulled back her payroll quite a bit so that she could support her team so that they could help her run the business while she was caring for her mom. And as business owners, we have the opportunity each year to kind of hit reset, to say, all right, what is my high level goal? What's my intention for this year? And now, because that's my intention, I can purposely spend in each of those categories.
Okay. That's really good. I really like the way you define that, because it makes it seem a lot more palatable for business when you say spending plan rather than budget. I think budget has a negative connotation.
Yeah, it's like instantly like.
Yeah, exactly. People immediately think, oh, budget. Oh, I can't spend this stuff. Oh, no. But yeah, it's really just a spending plan. So you're just planning on what you're going to be spending. That's really, really it. And then breaking all of that down. So, great example, great definition. Thank you for sharing that. Well, Danielle, this has been an awesome conversation. Really appreciate you coming on. I think it was really refreshing, especially here at the end of 2024. And we just goes to show that there's things that businesses can do to really stay on top of things. And, it's good to know that there's companies out there like yours that can help businesses kind of navigate the financial waters, which, can definitely be done. Lastly, before we do close things out, I always like to switch gears just so our listeners and viewers can get to know you a little bit better. If you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know.
Yeah. I'm one of those crazy accountants. For me, I love to spend as much time in the outdoors as possible.
Sure.
So as much as I like getting lost in the spreadsheets. I really prefer to be out on the trails with my puppies and getting lost in the woods and doing all things outside. So I think it just goes to show you that we can all have these kind of two dual sides of our lives and personalities.
That's very true. And thanks for sharing that. And yeah, I totally agree, especially as a business owner. You definitely have to find time where you literally step away from your business. And the best way to do that is to enjoy the outdoors, and where, you're not in front of an electronic device or a screen, and you're breathing fresh air. So that's awesome. And I'm glad that, you try to maintain a healthy balance between what it is that you're doing and your life in general. So thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Well, Danielle, if any of our viewers or listeners want to reach out to you and pick your brain any more regarding these topics that we talked about today, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Kickstartaccountinginc.com. And you can come book a call. You'll talk to myself or my team. We have our podcast, Business by the Books. So if this felt like you're like, yeah, I know I need to manage my numbers. I know I need it for my business. Drop an episode every Tuesday talking about how to use your numbers to manage your business.
Okay, awesome. We'll definitely be sure to have the link to your website in our show notes so people can check you out there. And I definitely encourage people to also check out your podcast as well, Business by the Books. It definitely sounds very interesting. I'm going to be sure to check out some of those episodes myself.
Perfect.
So thank you for sharing that. And it's been awesome talking to you today, Danielle. We really appreciate you coming on the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level, but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.